limiting self-beliefs, that is a form of self-sabotage. So if we actually stop the self-sabotage without replacing it with something that we want and aiming at it, we're not going to be able to permanently make a change in our lives. Welcome to the VetRise Podcast. I'm your host, Juan Perez. My goal is to make success after service accessible to every veteran in society. I believe in the power of leveraging your service, not as a label that defines you, but as a launching pad for your next chapter. What we have been doing has not been working, and it's on us to start changing the culture. Enjoy the episode, and thank you for your time. Today, we're going to be talking about overcoming self-sabotage. All right, so I want to start off by saying that we all go through this. We all experience self-sabotage. It's just about how self-aware are we that we are doing this to ourselves. Today, we're going to be going over how we can overcome that self-sabotage and how to find what's actually holding us back, because there is something holding us back. I want you guys to go into today truly understanding that you need to work on your self-awareness. And one of the ways that we can work on our self-awareness is understanding that we have flaws and we have to address them. We can't ignore them. We can't push them to the back. We can't pretend they don't exist. But when we become self-aware, we can start learning from the mistakes that we make, and the issues that we have, okay? We have to start by facing the hard truth. I want you guys to take time and just sit on your bed and ask yourself, what stupid things am I doing to screw up my life? What things am I actively doing to myself to screw up my life? What am I doing to hold myself back? Because without being self-aware, without realizing that there are things that we're doing to ourselves to hold ourselves back, we can't progress. And we have to be brutally honest. If you won't face it, if you won't address it, if you pretend that it's not real, if you pretend that it's not something that's actually holding you back, you can't fix it. You see, we have to start by understanding that we have hard truths that we don't acknowledge. And some of these things that we do to ourselves might be from the way that we were raised, or it might be from a bad relationship that we were in, or it might be a bad habit that we picked up when we left the military, or even as we are in this world, picking up bad habits and understanding that we have flaws. Some of these flaws are self-imposed. Some of these flaws are things that happen to us, and we learn a bad habit, and therefore we keep reiterating that action, and it becomes self-sabotage. But if you repeat it more than once, you have to take responsibility for it. And then we have to learn to stop making excuses for that sabotage that we're doing to ourselves. You don't get what you want because you don't know what you want. So if we are aiming at something, if we know that I keep doing this, and the reason why I keep doing this, the reason why I keep late night snacking or binge eating, or the reason why I don't eat anything throughout the day is because we don't realize the value of eating healthy. We don't realize the value of actually trying to take care of our body. We have to stop being vague. We have to stop telling ourselves that, oh, well, it's just the way life is. I can't fit a whole meal in right now, or I don't have it right now in the cards to be able to go to the gym, or, I'm just too busy right now in this time of my life to be able to take care of my health, or it's not the right time to go to the VA, or it's not the right time to do this or that. Like, we have to stop being vague about the thing that we want, because what do we want from life? Like self-actualization, self-awareness, self-realization that we have to know exactly what we want before we can start working on the self-sabotage is important. Because it's not just about, I need to stop doing this. What do you need to replace it with? Imagine that you are in charge of yourself. Imagine taking care of yourself like someone that you are in charge of, someone that you love. Because we can give the world's best advice. We know this. But yet we don't take it for ourselves. We can tell someone what their life can look like. We can tell someone, oh, well, if you just did this, this is what would happen. If you just left your boyfriend, if you just woke up a little bit earlier and made it to the gym, if you just stopped being scared of actually saying no to people, then you can live your best life. But what does your best life look like? if we don't know what we're aiming at, if we don't have the self-realization, the self-actualization of what we want from life and aim at it, we're not aiming at anything. And a lot of this comes down to passion and devotion, right? Because if you can find what you want from life, you can realize that there is a way to attain it, achieve it. Nothing is impossible. I promise you that. And I really want you guys to believe this. I want you to believe it with everything you have, because if we keep telling ourselves that, well, I just can't do that, that is a form of self-sabotage. Negative self-talk is a form of self-sabotage. Limiting self-beliefs, that is a form of self-sabotage. So if we actually stop the self-sabotage without replacing it with something that we want and aiming at it, we're not going to be able to permanently make a change in our lives. So we have to start learning to stop making excuses, excuse me, and actually realize, what do we want to aim at? Do we want to lose 30 pounds and be able to fit into our jeans and maybe apply for that job and feel the most radiant, confident versions of ourselves? Do we want to be able to not only meal prep, but pass on some good habits to our children so they actually get to be here for another 40, 50, 80, 70 years and actually get to raise their kids the right way with good habits and be the change in your lineage of family that changes the way that you guys eat your foods, that changes the way that you guys see yourselves? Do we want to actually be able to get out of the financial struggles that we're in and we live paycheck to paycheck? Because if we do want that, we have to aim at that. Eating out and living paycheck to paycheck and not properly budgeting, those are all self-sabotage. And we know this, but how do we replace it with something positive unless we know what that positive is? We have to have something that we're aiming at. And then we have to set a real purpose behind it. You need a clear target of what you are trying to aim at, because the self-sabotage comes from inside of you. It's not just drifting or guessing or thinking that you think you know what you want to do and, oh, well, I just want to be maybe a little bit healthier, or I just want to save up a little more money, or I want this one job, but, I don't really know how to get it. Like, you have to have a clear target of what is it that you're aiming at. We are humans. When we can set our minds to something, it actually gives us purpose. If your aim is to be able to not only eat a healthy food and have a healthy lifestyle, but be able to be the generational change for your family so your kids and their kids don't have to go through what you went through, that is something to aim at. If you're tired of being pushed around all the time, or if you're not happy with your current position at work, or if you're not happy with the relationship, like, you have something to aim at. Your goals organize your actions, your emotions, and your thoughts. Because if you don't have any goals, if we don't think about what we're trying to aim at, it is very easy to quit. It is very easy to self-sabotage. It is very easy to allow that negative emotion, those negative actions, and your limiting self-belief and the negative thoughts that you have in your mind to take over, because nothing is giving you the purpose that you need and that you want and that you so much crave. Every day can become meaningful when you have a real purpose of what you are aiming at. What do you want from life? What do you want from life? You have to aim at something. You have to have something to aim at. Because self-sabotage by itself isn't something that we can just get rid of. Because like we talked about before, we all cope, right? So either you cope with something positive, going to the gym, doing your bedtime routine and going to bed and getting some good rest, or we cope with the bottle. We cope with sleeping in. We cope with negative self-talk. We cope with feeling sorry for ourselves and binge eating or not eating enough. The self-sabotage can only be replaced if you have something to replace it with. Also, you have to recognize what is self-sabotage. You have to ask yourself, where am I sabotaging my journey? Because you might think that I'm not. You might think that, well, you know what? On Friday, when Friday rolls around, I have to do some self-care. And therefore, that's why I don't track my foods. And that's why on Saturday I sleep in. And then Sunday rolls around. And now I have to get ready for the rest of the week. And I don't do it right. That is self-sabotage. You think that you are properly resting and recovering, but in truth, you are avoiding the work that you know will make sure that when Monday rolls around, it's a no factor for you. It doesn't scare you. Are you skipping workouts? Are you eating junk food? Are you continuously procrastinating the things that you know you need to do? This is not just about being healthier and being in better shape. This is about changing the trajectory of your life. And once you can identify what those things that you are doing to you, the self-sabotage, we can write them down. We can list them. We can be honest. We can tell ourselves that the self-sabotage that I'm doing to myself is I do not wake up and have a morning routine. So therefore, my day always starts chaotically. We can identify that the fact that I always skip my Monday workouts because I didn't sleep right the night before because I stayed up late on Sunday is self-sabotage. We can choose to realize that the fact that you always eat out and you think that you're going to find the healthiest option out there, instead of you taking the time to meal prep, look at the recipes, the ingredients, the list, make your grocery shopping list, come home, make the food, and eat it throughout the week. That is self-sabotage when you don't do that. And as we identify what we are doing, why we continue to self-sabotage, whether you do it by eating junk food, avoiding your workouts, procrastinating, or even enjoying that survival mindset instead of realizing that you need to be in a thriving mindset, you actually start to become self-aware. And when we become self-aware, it's a little bit scary because once you identify one of those demons in your closet, you're going to find other demons and other dragons and other skeletons and other beasts that you have to slay. But I promise you, when you can take on that one boss, that one level boss, right? When you can take on that one enemy, that one dragon that you have to slay, you gain experience, you gain points in the system, you have the cheat codes, you're no longer starting at nothing. And I want you to think back in your life, where have you already done that? Where have you already started to deal with your demons and start attacking it? Because we all know that when we're dealing with our demons, it actually means that we're addressing our emotions and our issues. And as we become self-aware, again, it's scary because we realize, well, not only do I suffer from this, but I also don't do this. But that also means you are self-aware and you understand that you can aim at something different. And as you become self-aware, as you realize that I am lacking in this area of my life, or I keep doing this that's hurting me, or this is the reason why I don't do my workouts, or I keep staying up late at night, you can actually make the decision to commit to your best life because you know what it's like to not live it. You know what it's like to live the life you're living right now. We're all present right now. Right now, in your shoes, touch your chest. Like right here, we are alive. We are present. This is our reality. And as you are self-aware and you realize, I don't like this reality, that means I can do something about it. Think about the best life that you can imagine for yourself. Like, what does that look like for you? Because if you can't imagine it, I implore you to do so. Think about the very best life for yourself. Have a clear vision of what you want. And that could look like having a larger house, working from home, raising your kids the right way, not having thousands and thousands of arguments with your loved ones, because you know what? Arguments are still going to happen because when you communicate properly, you're going to realize that people have different opinions as long as you're willing to get through the damn fight. That best life that you can imagine for yourself might be losing the 100 pounds so you actually get to walk your daughter down the aisle one day instead of being confined to a wheelchair because of the health issues that are coming your way if you don't. And as we take action every day, as we take action on whatever we're doing for that day, if we are committing to the change that we want, nothing can stop you. There is no more self-sabotage. Do you have anything better to do? Because if you do, then do it. Ask yourself that. So as you wake up and you go through your day, the self-sabotage will only happen if you don't have something to aim at. Because if you don't, and you don't have anything to aim at, how can you go all in? How can you stop half-assing it? You won't. There's nothing lighting a fire under you. And you can have multiple whys. We've talked about this. I'm very passionate about this topic because I have multiple whys. And I refuse to become a statistic of life. I refuse to just be a divorced dad with 2 kids who lives paycheck to paycheck. I refuse. I know that I'm going to create something amazing, and I know I already am doing it. And I want you guys to take on that same mindset of a winner. Take on the mindset that just because you are someplace right now, it doesn't mean you're going to be here in 3 months, in 1 year, in 2 years. Stop talking and start doing. If you know what you want, great. Now aim for it. Every action that you take throughout your day should be aiming at what you want from life. All right, let's stop for a minute. This is the part of the episode where I ask you to do me a favor. But it's not a favor for me. It's a favor for your fellow brothers and sisters that served with you. If you know someone that has been struggling, if you know someone that has been going through it right now, and you know that they want better for their life, they just don't know how to do it, please share this episode with them. It might just be exactly what they need. That's it. That's my only ask. If you want to subscribe, I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Back to the episode. Because if not, you're going to feel like you don't have the integrity to follow through. So if you tell yourself, I want to lose 50 pounds and I want to be able to run a marathon, but yet you are not doing your stretches, you're missing workouts, you're not eating healthy, you're not really aiming at it. You understand that that is self-sabotage. Because if you told yourself that it's what you want, but you're not doing everything you can to achieve it, then you're not going to achieve it. So therefore, eventually you will realize that your dreams are not going to become reality because we have been sabotaging this entire time. And then adjust as you go. It's going to get harder, but you're also going to get stronger. You're not going to get it right the first time. You're not going to have every workout done the first week. And if you tell yourself right now, right here, today, as you listen to this, that you know what, you're right, I'm going to start working out. And you told yourself, like, I'm going to hit every workout this week, and then you only go 3 times a week, it doesn't mean you failed. It just means that the self-awareness needs to be stronger. Your aim needs to be stronger. Analyze. Pay attention to what was it that stopped you from hitting number 4, number 5. And then do something about it. Do something about it intentionally. Because success is not an accident. You have to aim for it and work for it. It's not just going to just happen to you. It's not. You cannot just hope for things to line up for you. You have to do the work. You have to be willing to put in the long hours. Make the hard decisions. Avoid the negative things in your life. Catch yourself when you start talking negatively to yourself. Pay attention to when you violate your own boundaries. Because if you tell yourself that, you know what, I want to lose 20 pounds in the next month, it is doable. Is it hard? Absolutely. But what would it mean to you to lose those 20 pounds? Because it's not just about losing 20 pounds. What would it mean to you? Why is it important to you? Well, because I'm tired of looking in the mirror and feeling like I've become my mom. Well, because I'm tired of my kids always asking me why I'm so winded every time I go up the stairs. Well, because every time I go on a date, I'm so nervous to take my shirt off because I feel like no one can love me because of how I look. It's not about the number of pounds that you're losing. It's about what will it mean to you. You have to aim at that. That's why when you guys do your check-ins, I tell you, like, I don't want you to aim at a number. I want you to aim at something a little more mindful. I want you to aim at something a little more real for you. Because when you aim at, okay, I'll be able to do my 5 workouts, when something happens and you don't hit the 5 workouts, we can stop and analyze and figure out why. Why? Did you stay up late last night? Because everything has a reason, right? Cause and effect. Your day-to-day starts last night. Your devotion to having a great Tuesday starts tonight. Because if you don't pack your gym bag in, if you don't get everything ready, if you don't do the dishes, and you don't declutter your room, and you don't make sure that you have your morning routine, and you don't have everything squared away, you are self-sabotaging, believe it or not. Because if you know better, but you don't do it, and you're not aiming at it, you have no one to blame besides yourself. Because then you're going to wake up Tuesday morning, and you're running late, and you can't make it to the gym because you didn't properly plan the night before, and you have to take your kids to daycare, and now you're running late. Like, oh, well, this is why I can never do it. No. Your day starts the night before. You have to aim at it. You have to work for it diligently. Everything that you do has to have that factor in mind of, is this going to help me achieve what I want from life? Because if it's not, it is self-sabotage. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you that I don't want you to have pizza on Friday nights with your family. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, maybe have 2 slices, maybe 3, but you don't have to eat half the pizza. You don't have to have 2 pops. You don't have to drink that glass of wine every night. You don't have to stay up till 2 a.m. on your phone scrolling for no reason. You don't have to tell yourself, oh, well, you know what? I have to clean the house today because it's dirty. You know what? Is it dirty, or are you just coming up with the reason of why you can't do your workout? Why didn't you clean it the day before when you had time? And if this is hitting home for you, if this is making you think like, why do I do that? Like, good. You're self-aware. That is the first step. There's no extra magic to this program. There's no extra sauce. The extra sauce, the ninja trick, is you doing the things that I ask you to do and understanding why they are important to you. And the reason we do these coaching calls is because I need you to understand why they're important to you. Because you guys all decided to join because you felt that freaking motivation in the moment. But we all know motivation comes and goes. But how do we make sure that it stays consistent with us? By having something so large that we're aiming at, that we know that if we miss, we won't get to where we want to in life. And you know what? Sometimes it's going to be lonely. Sometimes we're going to feel like a little bit of a fool. We're going to feel a little bit silly. People are going to make fun of us. People are going to run their mouths. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because eventually you will be able to master whatever it is that you are trying to do that you have not done before. You have to be a fool before you can be a master. You have to allow people to talk and say, oh, well, you don't want to hang out with us, or you're going to bed early all the time. Like, who cares? They don't pay your bills. They're not getting you to the goals that you want. They are not you. You are the master and creator of your life. Starting something new is going to mean that sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes things don't go as planned. Sometimes you go to the gym and you forgot your gym bag at home. You know what? You adapt, you improvise, and you overcome. Embrace it. Maybe you do meal prep, and you know what? It ends up taking you 4 hours instead of 2 that you thought it would. Guess what? Next time, it'll take you 3. And eventually, it'll take you 2. And eventually, you will get so good at it that you can do it automatically. But don't be afraid of trying. Don't have fear of failure. Failure can either teach you a lesson, or it can keep you down and keep you stuck where you're at. We should be afraid of not trying. Because when we don't try, that is self-sabotage. And there are many forms of self-sabotage, but a form of self-sabotage that we don't really address and we don't ignore and we don't say it is the fact that sometimes we just won't try. Because if you don't try, well, you can't fail, right? And that's just not true. Because if you don't try, you are giving yourself permission to not be able to get what you want. Because if it's something you want bad enough, you need to try. Because even if it doesn't work out the first time, you are getting closer to it. You took action. When you don't try because you're afraid, you think that you avoid the pain, but you don't. Because guess what? 15 years from now, when you develop a heart problem and you develop a back problem and you have passed on the bad habits to your kids and now they have health issues and obesity issues, that is the direct result of you not trying. And is it a struggle? Is it a battle? Is it sometimes an uphill battle? Yes, absolutely. It's not meant to be easy. It's not meant to be a cakewalk. But we have to accept the struggle. We have to understand that new interest and new things that we want to do and new things that we want to take on, like maybe going to a gym finally or doing the meal prep, it's going to be tough. And maybe you're going to feel a little bit stupid at first trying a new machine, but guess what? It's the same type of perspective. You figure it out. You look at the videos, you ask questions, you're willing to step out of your comfort zone. And before you know it, people are coming up to you asking you how to use a machine. That's part of the journey. Like going from level 0 to hero, that's part of the journey. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to suck. It's supposed to be the thing that teaches you lessons all along the way. Because you can tell yourself, like, well, if I don't try, then I can't fail. But not trying is the biggest failure, in my opinion. And you have to embrace the struggle. You have to understand that as you go through this journey, the things that happen to you, the lessons that you learn are going to come from failure sometimes. But as long as you learn from them, as long as you take them as a lesson, they cannot be the thing that holds you back. They will not be the thing that keeps you down. It's better to do something badly at first than none at all. Now, how do we develop that thing to aim at? How do we find our passion in life? Well, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you have to create it. Think about maybe starting a new hobby, like playing the piano. Think about maybe you want to learn a new language. Maybe you want to get a new job. Maybe you want to get new certifications. Maybe you want to lose those 50 pounds because you finally want to feel confident in your skin. It's the same principle of starting something new in life and messing up here and there, but eventually you get better over time. At first, yeah, you're going to mess up a lot, but you will get better with time. Every skill starts with errors. But if you can push past that uncomfortable feeling, if you can push past the limitations that you think you have, eventually that limitation line, that belief of I can only get to this or I can only get this far, it pushes further and further and further. And as you look back, that line is right behind you. It's not 10 or 20 or 30 feet behind you. It's right behind you because your limitations will change. You will be capable of much more every single time that you're willing to step out of your comfort zone. And the fear of failure holds us back because we keep thinking like, why? What if I just wait for that perfect moment? It's not going to come. If we do it and we feel a little bit clumsy, like what do? Guess what? It's necessary. You have to be willing to embrace the process and just be patient with yourself. Give yourself grace. You're not starting from zero when you fall off the bike. When you get off track, all you have to do is get back on track. You don't have to start at the beginning. And now you have experience of what was it that caused you to get off track? Was it that donut you had at work that made you feel shitty and then you felt some type of way and then you avoided doing the things that you had to do for that day? Was it that glass of wine that you had on Thursday night that avoided you being able to actually hit the gym Friday morning? Because you can be patient with yourself, but you have to learn from every single mistake that you made. Because if you don't, you're not being self-aware. You're not being honest. And honesty with yourself is the number one thing you can do for yourself because nobody else is going to tell you that. Now, I want you guys to really focus and reflect. Where in your life are you actively destroying your progress? You go to the gym and you hit it 5 days a week, and then before you know it, the weekend comes and you are having the biggest meal of your life because you think that you have to use the weekend to enjoy yourself because you can't do it during the week. And that's not true. You can have delicious meals throughout the week. You just don't have to stuff your face on the weekend. You stay up till 3 a.m. on your phone. For what reason? Nothing good happens after 9 p.m. Nothing. You keep telling yourself like, well, I'm going to wake up early and I'm going to do this, but yet we don't. What is the highest version of yourself that you can become? Because it's there. Like it is there. All it takes is all you got. And eventually you will arrive there. Because believe it or not, right now you've already arrived at the best version of yourself thus far. Because maybe 3 months ago, maybe a year ago, you never thought you'd be where you're at right now. And if right now you are in some place that you never thought you'd be, then think about where you can be in 1 year from now. What will it take from you to become that version of yourself? What is it going to take from you? Your discipline? Having integrity? Remembering why it's important to you? Why you want to be around to see your grandchildren grow up and graduate from high school or from college instead of being confined to a wheelchair or possibly worse, not even being here? Dealing with your issues, that way you don't pass on the obesity tendencies to your daughters, to your kids. Being able to deal with your issues right now so you raise your son the right way and he understands what it means to be a man of honor. All of these things matter. They all do. And we have to face it. We have to address it. For right now, in this moment, you can identify where you are self-sabotaging. If you can think about one area in your life, maybe even two, I want you guys to pull out your phone and I want you guys to record either a video talking to yourself and being brutally honest of where you are self-sabotaging so we can do something about it, or take your journal and write where you are self-sabotaging in your life. Because when you become self-aware or aware in your life, you are not acting in accordance with your values, with your morals, with your beliefs. The action, the thing that you are aiming at, the goal that you want will become clear. Because, for example, if you don't pay attention and you don't realize that I keep staying up till 2 a.m. and I keep missing my workouts and I am self-sabotaging in that area, how can you aim at losing the weight that you want to lose, at waking up at 3 a.m, unless you pay attention to where you are self-sabotaging? I like to wake up early because the rest of the world is quiet. Nobody's around. It's me and me. So just take stock, take inventory, be self-aware, and thank you for your time. And that brings us to the end of another episode of the VetRise Podcast. If today's episode inspired you, made you think, or simply gave you hope, I have a small favor to ask. Share it with just one veteran or someone you think could benefit from my message. Your share could light a spark for them. You don't know who you might save. For more insights and to join our mission, follow my socials at JP, the Veteran Coach, and explore how we can rise together. Thank you for joining us, for being part of this journey, and for believing in the power of rising together. Until next time, keep pushing forward, keep rising, and never forget that we are stronger together. My name is Juan Perez, and thank you for your time.